But at the end of the day, you may have studies behind you, but you still are, as a behaviorist, solving the problem for someone who has one. Yeah. And research might help you, and it may not help you at all.
Yeah, because every situation is different.
Right? These are problem-solving skills with an understanding of what basic behavioral needs are and basic feline behavior is.
Sorry for Saying Sorry Media presents the Purr Podcast, the best podcast for feline medicine and surgery with tips, tricks, and updates for the entire veterinary healthcare team. If you're dying to know more about cats, keep on listening. Here are your hosts, Dr. Susan Little, famous cat vet and textbook author, and Dr. Yola Kerpenstein, talented surgeon and social media geek.
Hi, this is Dr. Susan Little.
And Dr. Yola Kerpenstein.
And we have with us somebody that I've been waiting to have with us for a while.
And this is really cool.
It is. So we have Dr. Terry Curtis with us.
Woo-hoo.
And the reason that I'm excited that Terry's with us is because we have never yet in our podcast talked about feline behavior. Do you believe it?
No, I can't even believe
I know.
it.
No. I knew you'd be shocked. Yes.
Although we didn't start this podcast that long ago.
I know,
and
but
we have a
still.
lot of new things going on, but I agree.
I think Terry is probably mortified that it's taken. Really?
I would like to leave now.
Yes.
See?
She
She's
cannot
already
speak.
declining.
She cannot speak. We have 30 minutes of silence now.
Yeah,
That's
30
it.
minutes of
That's
silence.
it. I have nothing to say.
Yeah. So behavior is important.
It is the most important.
Let's rephrase that, Susan.
So behavior's number one.
Yes.
It is.
Yeah, it really is. So
If you're dead, none of these other things matter.
that's so true. I like the way you think.
Yeah.
Mm.
So I've been very excited because we haven't talked about behavior yet, so that's good. And also because I think the person that I've learned more about feline behavior from is you than anybody else, I think.
And
Because of your, I love your insights and I love your way. I love your videos. Because after all, what is a description of behavior without a video?
There isn't.
I know. So this
And
woman
so that
has
will
the
be
best.
really difficult, though, because we're talking.
I
And there's
know.
no visual. So whenever we talk about something, you really need to kind of audible visualize. I cannot speak anymore. It's been, I know, it has been a long day. But
You're going
you
to
know,
be descriptive.
it's very exciting.
Yeah.
And I also think there's so many questions about feline behavior.
Yes.
So, hello.
There is.
Terry
know.
has the best cat pee behavior videos.
I do.
Really.
You really do.
And
And very few people
It's a gift.
can.
It's a gift.
Very few people can actually say that on their CV. I
Really?
have the best collection of cat pee videos.
I love that. All right. So,
Number one cat behavior problem.
it is.
Pee.
It is.
Yeah.
Peeing of one kind or another.
so before we go into the peeing thing, which I love, let's introduce yourself a little bit
Oh,
to our
See,
wonderful
I'm so anxious
audience.
to talk about behavior. I've
What would
been
you
giving
like
her
to
a
know?
chance. Tell us whatever you want to know.
Yes. So
what do you want
this
us
is
to
an
know about
open
yourself?
mic.
Yeah.
Open mic.
It's up to you. Yeah.
Geez.
Yeah, we've heard everything. Trust me. So
Start with your name.
My name is Terry Curtis.
start with the easy things.
She
lives in Florida.
I live in Florida. I live in. Do you need to know where?
Sure.
St. Augustine,
Yeah,
Florida.
that way-
Yeah,
can
don't
stop
don't
you.
do your address because
But
then
no
you get
address,
all the
no
fan
address.
mail.
I am faculty at the University of Florida, vet school in Gainesville.
Go Aggies.
I have been a veterinarian for 25 years. I've been a behaviorist for 15, 16 years. So 19 years if you count residency. So I've been doing this for a while.
A while.
Yep.
That is awesome.
So why behavior? Because you didn't start off.
No, I didn't start off. I didn't start off in behavior. I started off in feline practice. And so I was working with cats, and I found that much, if not most, of the problems I encountered were behavior, and I did not get a behavior foundation in vet school, and that was very frustrating, and I wanted to help my clients. So things didn't work out in the practice that I was in, and I said, let's do something else. And so I went and got a residency in behavior, and the rest is history.
Who did you work with on behavior in Florida for your residency?
I actually did my residency in Georgia.
Ah, okay.
So Sharon Carl Davis and Lynn Seibert.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
That's pretty. And do you think that because that was a while ago, do you think now in universities behavior is taught everywhere,
Is it better?
or is it still?
Absolutely not.
A lot of universities don't have behaviors.
Nope.
Right?
I think I was number 30-something as far as the number of behaviors there were back in 2003. There's now maybe 80-something, so
Wow.
50 in 15 years.
Yeah.
That's
So
not a lot.
that's not good.
Slow.
No.
Yeah. Yeah, and not even that many in academia.
No.
Yeah.
And ladies, just to point out, we need to direct our attention to the little microphone that we have here, because I can see a kind of a fluctuation in the sound.
And we'll get comments.
And
Okay.
yes.
Yeah, we'll get comments.
All right.
You can tell who's the technical person.
Okay.
That's exactly it. So there is not enough behavior education. I guess that the behavior education in Florida is excellent.
Well, in Florida, there is a required course for the freshmen, and then there's an elective course for the juniors, which is a clinically based course. And so, yeah, they get an option to learn about behavior, which is great.
So you went to Utrecht for your undergrad degree. Do you remember how much behavior you got?
Yeah, we got quite a lot of behavior, as a matter of fact. So we had, I remember that we had behavior in what we call then we have a 6-year program. So the first 2 years we got behavior, and it was behavior it was species covering. So there was all the species. So we got, I can remember clearly equine behavior. I can remember bovine behavior, dog and cat, obviously. We had we even had a kennel with some cases, and was very hands-on. So we got quite a lot of behavior.
But you said a mouthful. I mean, a 6-year program is probably where we need to be.
Yeah.
There's not enough time to get
we're struggling to fit a lot of things into the current curriculum, let alone behavior, right? Yeah.
And the one thing I remember was that Frans de Waal came to lecture the students. Frans de Waal is the one that is part of the chimpanzee colony in Holland. He's very well known because they were one of the first ones that described chimpanzee behavior in the group and that sort of things. And it's just unbelievable. That was just an eye-opener. And that was in my first year. They exposed us to, how you can see how other species behave and then relate either to you or to dogs and cats. So I think Utrecht did a good job.
You did really well. Yeah. We had good behavior instructors at the University of Guelph. We just didn't have enough time. Yeah, Don McEwen and Dr. Lucia, just not enough time.
But then I do think that if I then recall how much feline behavior got on, it almost went down to zero because it's mainly focused on dogs.
What?
God forbid.
I'm the only one that's allowed to say that.
Oh, he's allowed to say it. Okay.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. But I also think that there's not a lot known about feline behavior. It's not studied all that much, and I think there's still very subtle signaling when it comes to cats, trying to figure out what they're trying to communicate. I think a lot of what we think we know, we don't know at all.
So that was an eye-opener for me as I've been editing textbooks in recent years, and one textbook with a very big behavior section in it, and that was a real eye-opener for me, the dearth of literature, right, and the dearth of good literature on feline behavior. So that was when I realized, as you say, that a lot of what we think we know, or a lot of what we say every day, we're not grounded in evidence.
No.
Yeah.
No.
So why is that? Why do we not get enough behavior research, investigation? What's the issue?
I don't think you have to go very far to get to the answer being money. It's always economics.
Yeah.
So maybe with the number of cat-owning households, as that increases and they become the number one pet, and people want to know more about who they're spending their time with, that the research will come. But there's also, I think, when it comes to people and cats, there's not a lot of expectations. And so cats can get away with a lot. Not that they do get away with a lot, but they just get to do normal things that cats get to do, where dogs, the stakes are higher.
Yeah, you're expected to go for a walk.
Right.
You're expected to go in the car. You're expected to do things. Yeah.
And there's a lot of commands that dogs have to follow. Cats, not so much.
Yeah.
So you think that people are easier in giving up? Okay, this cat has really strange behavior. Just we'll let him alone, and that's it.
Yeah, or they're just so it doesn't matter. Their behavior is like, my cat does this weird thing. Who cares?
Until they pee outside the
They're
litter
not hurting
box.
anybody. Right.
Yeah, so circling back to pee.
But no, before we go there, I do think that although we get very little education in vet school, it's not a reflection on how many questions you get as a vet.
No, not at all.
And so this is once again this disconnect between studies and the real world. And this is where you come in and make that huge difference, because I think I'm so happy we talk about it, because how important is feline behavior in the clinic?
In general practice.
Yeah.
Oh, it's going to be the thing that kills cats the most. I mean, they're not going to see their 5th birthday or whatever it is if they start urine marking, and which is a normal behavior, and urinating outside the box, which is normal if you're not giving them a desirable place to pee and poop. So
yeah, it's a bit of a sad fact, isn't it, in North America, that more cats will die because of a behavior.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
Same thing with dogs. True. I mean, yeah. But anyway.
Yeah, so it's not like it's not cancer, it's not heart disease.
No, and the thing is,
we're not changing your behavior.
If the cats are dying because of a behavior problem, you're not going to be able to do surgery and radiology and dentals and cancer and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
So
do you think urinary issues are number one?
Yes.
Or close.
House soiling.
Let's say elimination issues.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And do you think there's a difference? Because I'm from a European background where most of our feline furry friends are part-time inside, and often they're outside.
But even outside cats often will come inside if a litter box is provided.
Yeah.
They've learned to eliminate there, so they have access to outside. They still come in.
Yeah.
And so I don't know how much of a difference that makes.
Yeah.
And this is where research is great, and I did it myself, and I've looked at feline behavior and grooming behavior and things like that. But at the end of the day, you may have studies behind you, but you still are, as a behaviorist, solving the problem for someone who has one. Yeah. And research might help you, and it may not help you at all.
Yeah, because every situation is different.
These are problem-solving skills with an understanding of what basic behavioral needs are and basic feline behavior is.
I think you have to be quite inventive sometimes,
Totally.
Right? Yeah.
Because if this doesn't work, you can't say, well, I'm done.
Yeah.
Like, well, that's all I have.
Yeah.
You better have more than just one.
Yeah, you better have more than one trick in your back pocket, right?
Absolutely.
And so I would think, and in our practice we often do this, like home visits are really helpful.
I only do house calls.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow,
it seems perfectly suited, doesn't it?
Well, you just go and what you not only see the situation, but then you can be very specific about your recommendations. And that's, I think, the other thing is I do as a behaviorist as opposed to what I've seen primary veterinarian, their stumbling block is that they're not adamant about what needs to be done. It's like, well, why don't you try this? I never say that. I say, this is, you need to do this.
This is what you do.
This is what you do.
Yeah.
This is what you're paying me for. I'm going to tell you exactly what to do.
Yeah.
And I think we need to feel more comfortable in saying that.
Yeah. And I think often too, like general practice veterinarians struggle a little bit more. So we learn like the stuff at lectures, like you do this, you do. But when you try to bring it down to like that lady and her house and the way her house is laid out and how that's where the struggle is.
But it shouldn't be. That should be. I have this, and I know exactly this is where we should put the box. But I also will go in and say, where will it work for you? I don't want you to have a litter box in your kitchen necessarily or in your dining room. Yeah. So I'm not going to tell you to put one there. Yeah. So what are my options? Give me some options, and then I'll tell you where I think it should go. But you've got to, I don't know, you have to take the rein. They don't know what to do, which is why you're talking to them.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you need to be able to tell them what to do.
Just like we would for any other condition. Right? Yeah, okay. Yep. So if elimination issues are really common, which they are, so what would you say are let's say the top 3 mistakes owners make when it comes to their behavior or their management of the situation?
So if we're talking peeing outside the box, the number one is the box is too small, the box has a hood, or the box is not where the cat lives.
Yeah. So we tend to put litter boxes where we want them to be, right? And my other
out of the way.
Mm-hmm. And my other pet peeve is we like to get these litter boxes that are like really novel or unusual or they're small, and we pay no attention to the end user. The end user should be deciding.
Right, but along what you just said, if you're going to do novel, I have owners get kitty sandboxes, so like child sandboxes in the shape of a turtle or in the shape of a crab.
Oh my gosh.
And they're huge and they're fun, and you can put them on the porch, or you can put them in the playroom, or you can put them somewhere. Yeah. And it's just this big crab full of sand that the cat loves, and it's huge.
Yeah.
So the owner's having
fun. So
it's
comparing the little thingy in the corner to this beautiful sandbox, and it says, maybe not the one in the corner. Let's go for the big one. That's what my owner wants me to do.
Exactly. Okay, I have a hard question for you. Automated litter boxes, like, the self-clean, yes or no?
No.
Why?
that was
quick.
Yeah.
Well,
You didn't have to think
I
about
remember
that one.
we actually tried it in practice. The owner of the feline practice took one home, and I think pretty quickly on, her cat had a bout of diarrhea. And diarrhea in one of those self-cleaning boxes is a mess.
Oh.
And so you get diarrhea along every one of those little combs. Times.
It would never have
So,
occurred to me.
Big doesn't work. And also, from a size perspective, the litter mate is taking up quite a... Am I allowed to say litter mate?
Well, that or whatever. There's different ones.
That's the only one I know of.
Yeah.
But, so the box itself, the contraption itself is very large, but the actual space that the cat has to eliminate is pretty tiny. So my perspective is, if you're going to allot that much room for a litter box, then get a litter box that's at least that big.
Yeah, where the real estate is
Right,
the
the
real
real
estate
estate
the
is
cat can use. Yeah,
Although I do have to say that I've talked with owners that have one that the cat is using, and obviously didn't get diarrhea. I'm really happy with them. So
Sure.
I mean, there's
Well,
a
if there's
range
not a
of
problem,
things.
it's not a problem.
Yeah.
But if
Yeah.
there's a problem,
Yes, you don't want to
then you
use
go
them.
in and say, this isn't going to work.
Yeah.
And the other thing I have to say is that the funniest social media, I'm a lot on social media, the funniest social media thing that I've seen lately was the fact that, I think it was Jessica Vogelsen, Dr. Jessica Vogelsen, a fantastic person, was describing what the iRobot did with her dog's
that's
diarrhea.
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
Smear it
so
all over?
it was everywhere.
Oh my gosh.
And so
Just
she
spin
said,
it around.
do I just throw out the whole
Hang
iRobot? Or do I throw out my whole house?
Yeah.
Or what shall I do now?
That's hundreds of dollars, I
the
think.
consequences.
Isn't it nice if you think about that?
Yeah,
And so...
I would put a frame around it, call it art, and there you go.
That's it.
And
Yes,
you're done.
that's in fact. But we all see the little picture of the iRobot with the cat on top, which is very funny, running around in the. But that's not. I mean, you don't think about if it goes wrong. It can go wrong really, really.
You know what you're making me think of? This is something I thought of the other day. A lot of the stuff that looks funny on social media, like funny, like videos of cats.
Yeah. Not funny.
Not funny.
Not funny.
Not funny.
Even with that other species. Not funny.
No.
It's an animal that's scared
Yep.
or displaying really inappropriate behavior.
Mm-hmm.
It's
So
not just me. You see that
Yeah,
too.
no, I don't laugh much.
Yeah.
So you look at those videos
Yeah.
probably with a completely
Oh,
different
it's right.
eye.
And when I play videos, whether it's for a veterinary audience or for a student audience, and there is, some laughter. It's like, I get it. I get it from your perspective, but
Yeah.
let's step back and now
Yeah.
look at it from the perspective of the individual that you've just been recording. And, we are veterinarians, typically, who I'm talking
Yeah.
to. So let's
Be a veterinarian and
let's
look at it
stop
with
this.
those eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that actually is, it's a bit traumatizing to me. Yeah. Watching some of these things on social media now.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
very
But I'm
good
not the
point.
only one.
No, you're not the only
Yeah.
one.
The Win Feline Foundation has been funding cat health studies for 51 years. If you have a cat or have ever treated a cat, nearly everything we know was once funded by this nonprofit, totaling about $6.5 million. From understanding retroviruses, FELV and FIV, to more recently targeting gene defects responsible for HCM in the Ragdoll and Maine Coon breeds. The Win Feline Foundation Pet Memorial Program offers veterinary professionals an opportunity to reassure clients that their beloved cats have not been forgotten, and those dollars support health studies that benefit the lives of all cats. Contributions totaling $150 or more receive a certificate suitable for framing or display in your clinic. Imagine being able to treat kidney disease more effectively, using stem cell therapy to cure stomatitis, or drugs that treat FIP are actually within grasp. Consider your support in telling your clients about the Win Feline Foundation and a free newsletter at winfelinefoundation.org.
So litter box is in the wrong place. Litter box is the wrong size.
Yep. Typically, what you want is a box that's 1.5 times the size of the cat.
Yeah, it's magic number apparently.
Yep, it is a magic number, and
Including
so
the
that's
tail, length of the tail.
not including
Not
the tail.
including the
Up
tail.
to the tail.
This is, this
Up
question
to the
comes
tail.
up. Does it include the length of the tail?
Well, include the length of the tail. And this way, you may
Yeah.
actually
Even
Then you know
better.
for sure.
Exactly.
Even better.
You can't go wrong.
Okay.
So, but if you watch a cat in nature, if you're going to look at one of
Or-
my cat
or one of your
video
videos.
right? I mean, if you
And you watch them?
and you watch them, the thing that you're you see immediately is how much room they use in the real world.
Yeah.
And they're moving around and they're taking sand from all over the place and they're turning around and they can't do that in a box that's
and they're digging,
they're
sniffing, they're
doing all
covering.
that stuff.
It's a whole deal.
is.
It's a ritual.
Yeah,
It is.
it's a whole deal. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. But I think very few people think about that, right?
No, and I think if people think about, most people would rather have the grand ensuite, the big, huge master bathroom, as opposed to the little porta potty at the circus or wherever.
Case in point.
That's it. So
Case
your cat
in
is no
point.
different.
Yeah, your cat is no different.
Give
Absolutely.
it the ensuite.
Yeah.
Although I normally don't move the sand in my ensuite,
But, you do other things
yes,
that
that's
you would
probably true.
like some room for.
Yeah,
I bet
exactly.
if someone were videotaping you, you'd have some.
In the sand.
Yeah.
Just saying.
You'd have some explaining.
Yes, probably so.
There could be
probably
some
so.
explaining to do. Yeah,
I had some
absolutely.
explaining after yesterday, but let's not go there.
Yeah. So one of my other pet peeves is litter boxes disguised as furniture.
Again, if it works, great.
Yeah.
But there's ways to do it. So you could have some really big furniture with a big, huge box inside. But if it's
it's often like disguised, as like an end table. Or,
Right.
Yeah. So to me, it just looks like a very stinky cave. Is kind of what it looks like, right?
Out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah. It's that principle. Yeah. So we have to be thinking more about the cat when we think about litter boxes. So do you think, like, for elimination issues, let's call them, do you think the litter box makes up a big chunk of that? Or, because we also hear about, like, substrate preferences, location preferences.
I would say the box is probably the highest.
On that list.
And then in substrate, sandy clay is probably better than
all those other
wheat, whatever they're trying to get a cat to use.
Yeah.
Pretty much, if it works for the owner and the owner likes it, the cat will not.
Yeah. There's a rule for you.
That's the
if
rule.
you like the litter,
I love that.
Kitty probably not.
They don't. So, pine, walnut,
crystals.
whatever. Crystals, yuck.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
you look at that, you think,
no,
really?
No,
Yeah.
it doesn't even look like sand.
No.
So the thing that looks most like
sand.
dirt,
Yeah, right.
which is what cats use, is dirt.
Yes, after
then
all.
it's going to be the best.
Yeah.
And sometimes I have to recommend dirt.
I had a house soiling case years and years ago now, and that was the thing that solved it.
Especially if you're taking an outside cat and making him an inside cat, because they don't understand what this stuff is.
We put actual dirt in the litter box.
There you go.
And it worked.
Yeah.
So multi-cat households, excuse me, because in Canada and the U.S. and many countries around the world, people don't stop at one cat.
Nor should they.
Nor should they. It's like potato chips,
Mm-hmm.
right? So
Not that that's all going to always go well.
Yeah.
But
case in point.
that's another topic.
That's another topic. So multi-cat households, how many litter boxes?
It depends. It depends how big the litter box is. I have 3 cats. I have one big litter box, and that's fine.
Yeah.
Because, one, they all get along, so I don't have inter-cat issues. I don't have a problem with resources. If I have a problem with resources and one cat's not going to go by the other cat to get to the box, then we've got an issue and we need more than one box.
Mm-hmm.
So it really depends on the size of the box and what the issues are.
Yeah.
So there isn't a magic number.
No. So that's a good thing to hear. And so that leads me into, we have to understand the dynamics of the social relationships amongst cats.
Yep.
Which is tough.
It is.
Yeah.
Because there's just no it's like predicting, will 3 people get along? Well, I don't know.
Pull them
Depends
off the street. Actually, there's reality TV shows like that.
And
right?
they don't go well.
And they don't always go well.
I think they're scripted to a certain degree as well. But
you could do a cat show like that, I swear.
Yeah. But there's, you're not going to know until those cats get together. And behavior changes over time. And I don't think people are always prepared for that. Things are going well now, and 3 years from now, it's not going well anymore.
Yeah, or one cat gets older, gets sicker,
I like the idea of serving at home, because then you can kind of set up a relationship with an owner or a cat population where you help them not only like now we have a problem, but you can come back and then see if it's better, or if when the new cat gets introduced, you can help them with setting up the rules and that sort of things. That is a wonderful idea.
Yeah. It's got to be a really, you have to be like, you have to have a leg up. Like that's a big advantage to be able to. So I know that you've done some work with some famous cats.
I have.
Can you talk about that?
I can.
Okay. So I love the story. So tell us about the famous cats that you have.
These are the Hemingway house cats.
The Hemingway cats. Isn't that so exciting?
It is exciting.
Yeah. So tell us how that happened.
Well, this was 2008. I got a phone call from someone at the USDA, and he said, would you be interested in helping the cats down at the Hemingway house in Key West? And I really had no idea where this was going. And I thought, sure.
Why not?
That's a good answer. I will say yes
Key
to
West.
that. And within about an hour, my phone rang, and it was the Miami Herald. And I thought, what did I just say yes to?
What have I done?
So it was quite it was a big battle between the USDA and a licensing organization. And there were cats that were being actually lured off the property, and then once they were being lured off the property, they were being incarcerated in kitty rescue places, and the Hemingway house was having to pay fines and things like that
To get them back.
And so there was this big attack on the Hemingway house about the way the cats were being treated and all of that. So I basically went down, and again, I knew I was in trouble when I landed, and People Magazine was there, and, and Nightline was there. And
You lucky person.
I'm getting calls from people out in California that save the cats, don't kill the cats. And I'm
No
like,
pressure.
I have no intention of killing the cats, and so my job was to come up with a plan to keep the cats safe, and so we worked on fencing. We put up a perfect fence. We put up motion detectors so the cats couldn't get out the property. Optimized their food and water locations, and made sure that there was a census that was being taken all the time, so everybody knew what cats were. Because there's about 50 cats at any given time. And so it was a very global implemented treatment plan, and it was a wonderful experience. The cats are great. They were being very well taken care of, and it was just getting the information out to the people who needed to have it. And finally, the USDA, and it was the Department of the Interior, because Hemingway House is a national historic place.
That's the connection.
So there was the battle between the USDA, which governs places where things are exhibited. So the cats were being considered The cats were being considered an exhibit, and then the Department of the Interior was governing the historic nature of the property. So it was basically having them both agree that whatever I said, they would follow. And
So was the issue that they were wandering off the property, or
they were being lured?
Yeah.
So people were because these are the polydactyl cats, and so there's always one or two intact males and one or two intact females. And so the person in Key West who had a zero tolerance for intact cats was luring these cats off the property, and again, kind of setting the whole place up for failure. And the cats were not leaving the property
of their own volition.
And on the other side of the spectrum, people that are cat hoarding, that have 50 cats in their house. Do you have to deal with those?
There's homes with 50 cats, and then there's homes with 50 cats.
I mean, the number in and of itself doesn't tell me that there is a horrible situation there. I have never been called in to a true hoarding situation where, because chances are no one's going to think they have a problem, so they're not going to call me. But it's a totally different pathology. I mean, people who are basically letting cats die because they're totally clueless about what
they
to do.
don't see what we
see. They don't see what. But you could certainly have 50 cats. The Hemingway house sits on an acre of land, and there's 50 cats on that acre, and there's plenty of room for everybody. So, and where I did my research for grooming in cats, it was pretty much a normal residential house, maybe a quarter of an acre, and they had 26 cats. They were amazingly taken care of and well taken care of, and they were beautiful. So,
and how long did you do your research for?
It was a 3-year period.
And if you could summarize that in about a minute.
What we looked at was grooming and proximity in cats. And these 26 cats, we had 5 families that we knew were related. And I was looking at grooming behavior in cats that were related versus cats that weren't related, and also grooming behavior in cats that had been friends for a long time versus cats that had just met each other. And the hypothesis was that if you were related or you were buddies, that you would groom more. and that you would groom each other more,
yeah.
and that you would be in proximity with each other more than those that you were not related to or those that you were friends with, and the hypothesis was verified.
Yeah.
So
that's
it was a duh kind of a thing.
Yeah, but it's one way now that we know you can get clues,
Sure.
right, about relationships.
But let's say something about allogrooming, because all we did was document the number of allogrooming bouts, so the number of times a cat groomed another cat. The biggest piece of that puzzle that needs yet to be investigated is what happens after the allogrooming bout, because there are some cats that will groom each other and then lay down, but there are other cats that will groom each other and then start to fight. So the question is, and this is where we're going back to what is cat language and what is cat signaling.
Yeah.
So I think most people think of grooming as an affiliative behavior, but if every time, or the vast majority of time, the end of a grooming bout results in a fight, then we may be totally misreading what's going on.
Yeah.
I am so happy that you said it, because I learned a new word,
allogrooming.
So you also have auto-grooming when
they just lick themselves.
And xenogrooming when they lick something else.
A different species? Can you xenogroom?
I guess we can.
Hey, we have a new word.
I know
Yay. Exciting.
You got to learn something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Every time. No, this is awesome. This is awesome. So we are right at the 30-minute, and so I think
it goes so fast.
I know, and the guys will be coming in soon, and so breaking us up. So Susan, your last question.
My last question. What feline behavior case sticks with you the most? For good reason, bad reason. Is there a case that just, will stick with you? I mean, I would guess the whole Hemingway thing would, but maybe there's... tough question.
That is a tough question.
We like to put
actually,
you on the spot,
I'm gonna, because this was a case where the owner was really being attacked by her cat.
Oh wow!
I mean, in a really not a play way, which typically if a cat is attacking someone, especially a young cat, it's kind of play. Yeah. But this cat would get very aroused, and I mean, do some pretty horrible damage to the owner. And the owner was in no way going to get rid of this cat, was not going to give her up, was not going to euthanize her. And so got in there and did the consult, and the cat responded very well to medication and environmental modification. We kind of changed the predictability of the triggers that would set the kitty off. Yeah. And I know they're still happy together, and it's been years. But that was, kind of from my perspective as someone who's had cats and has been around cats, it's like, really? Your cat's trying to kill you? Yeah. I find that hard to believe. And
but it was.
But it was.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah, and those often are really difficult situations to deal with. So to have a great outcome, I can see why it sticks with you. Yeah, good one.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, yesterday we were talking with Mary Gardner, and we asked her, so how we were talking about euthanasia, obviously, and how do you euthanize a aggressive cat?
Yeah,
and it was amazing. It's so simple, and we don't think about it. So we always...
so they'll often put like drugs in food, or just like whatever you can squirt in the cat's mouth. So they have a whole protocol for animals, like it's not safe to touch. Yeah, so they've got that all worked out.
So, and I think this fits really well. We started this podcast because there's so many questions about cats, and there's experts, but not everybody is able to listen to the experts all the time. Yeah. And there is books, but not everybody reads their books.
No.
So this
and education is everything, so however you need to get it out there.
That's right.
That's exactly it.
Yeah.
And so sorry that we only have 30 minutes. This was fantastic, but we would love to have you back.
Yeah.
Because there's so many more.
It is.
We
can do many podcasts.
We haven't even
on feline
talked about
behavior.
the grooming yourself bald cat.
There you go. And
I
I promise you, this will not be the only feline behavior podcast.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's it.
Now
Now
you know
we're
what
hooked.
to expect.
Now we're hooked.
Totally. So
right.
thank you very much, Terry.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much. And we see our audience in about 2 weeks again.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Thank you.
The opinions of this podcast are those by Dr. Susan Little and Dr. Yola Kerpenstein. Veterinary medicine is a complex profession, and often there are multiple diagnostic and therapeutic options for different disease processes. If you're a pet owner with questions, please go to your local veterinarian. If you're a veterinary professional, ask your questions on our Instagram page @PerPodcast. Dr. Susan Little is a feline medicine specialist with 2 cat-only hospitals in Ottawa, Canada. She is best known as an international speaker and as the author and editor of 2 textbooks, The Cat, Clinical Medicine and Management, and August, Consultations in Feline Internal Medicine. Along with 3 cats, she also admits to owning 2 dogs, and you can follow her on social media with the handle @CatVetSusan. Dr. Jurla Kerpenstein is a diplomate of the American and European College of Veterinary Surgeons and a big cat fan. His specialties range from surgical oncology and reconstruction to minimally invasive surgery. He is the author of 2 textbooks on basic and reconstructive surgery. Did you know he was allergic to cats? Yola works currently at Hill's Pet Nutrition. You can follow him on social media with the handle @GVETSX.